BookTube. So last Wednesday, I talked about some of the worst books that I read in 2021. So today I wanted to balance it out, as all things should be, and talk about some of the best books that I've read so far this year. There are definitely more. So far, it's been a pretty positive reading year. I haven't read that many books that I've just hated. Most books that I've read have just been average, or as with the books today, I really love them. So let's get right into it. So the order through which I go through these books is not like a ranking. It's chronological. The first book is the one I read first, and you get the point. It's not that difficult to understand. The first book I want to talk about is Warcross by Marie Lu. This is literally like one of the, I think it was the second book that I read this year, and I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. And I was definitely not a new favorite. I wasn't enamored by it or anything, but I just loved our main character so much, how dedicated and passionate and just how great she was in this book. She was just so smart, and just seeing some of the decisions that she made, it made sense with her character. I loved that Marie Lu didn't force anything onto her, and overall, just this book was exactly what I needed in a dystopian. It was action-packed. It made you think about technology and where it could take us. It had a complex world, and some of the characters I really fell in love with. Like, I love when I can think of these characters as real people and kind of think about what are they going to do next? What would this person realistically do? When an author has created that, you know you're going to enjoy the book and that they've done a good job. And I feel like that definitely happened with Warcross. And the plot twist, I was trying to predict it, and I actually feel like I got pretty close, but I just did not at all see coming what was going to happen. And I guess now looking in retrospect, it makes complete sense. But while I was reading it, I did not see that coming, and I think Marie Lu did a pretty good job with that. And I just cannot wait to read Wildcard. As you'll notice, this has definitely been a year, as last year was. Well, last year I did get 5 books into a series, where I start series and do not immediately finish them, which means I will not finish them in a while. I'm so bad at finishing series. I really need to make a vlog sometime of like finishing series I've started, just to keep myself accountable, because I am so bad at finishing series that I start. The next book I want to talk about is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This, if you do not know, this is the prequel to The Hate U Give, and it stars dad, Maverick, like 17 years or so, I think, before the events of The Hate U Give. Or is it just that he's 17 years old? Oh, it is 17 years before the events of The Hate U Give, and he's 17 in the book. Angie Thomas probably did that on purpose, now that I think about it. Angie Thomas is just such a phenomenal writer. He knows how to make you care about characters, and you just grow to know them so quickly. And as you'll notice, I love believable characters. I'm definitely more of a character reader. Maverick was just so complex and interesting, and just seeing his character growth and the defining moment at the end, it just almost brought a tear to my eye. I love this book so much. Angie Thomas knows how to write families, and she also knows how to write really important stories. The plot was action-packed. I was always on the edge of my seat. I got through this so quickly, and I just always needed to know what was going to happen next. And I also loved that this book was technically historical fiction, so we got a lot of references of things that were going on at that time, like, I hope the Lakers will win it this year. And just seeing that in retrospect was kind of cool. And yeah, I think this book was great. And I also just loved seeing like Lisa and Maverick and Seven before we see them in The Hate U Give. I thought that was great. And if you enjoyed The Hate U Give, I mean, you don't technically have to read The Hate U Give before you read this, but I feel like it does definitely add something to the book if you've read The Hate U Give beforehand. And I mean, The Hate U Give has been on the bestseller list for like ever since it was released, I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I think it's been on the bestseller list every single week since it's been released. So if you haven't read it, you're a bit outnumbered. The next book I read was for a reading vlog that I did, where I tried to read 7 books in 7 days, and although I didn't succeed, I did read a really good book in that vlog, and that is Love in that vlog. What is a vlog? In that vlog, and that is Love is Higher Law by David Levitan. I read David Levitan before with Everyday, and I did enjoy it, but there were definitely some things that I didn't like about it. But with Love in a Higher Law, I just thought it was such a great book. I loved going back into 9/11 and seeing the immediate impact on people who were in the vicinity. We followed these three characters who were all just so developed, and just the theme of music that prevailed throughout the book. I also loved that, seeing how art and story can connect our lives and how can make us heal and hurt and help us. The writing style was so beautiful, and overall, like, the book was so heartbreaking. And yeah, I love it. It is shorter, and I wish it had been longer, but I completely understand why it is the length that it is. Yeah, and I really enjoyed this book. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, but it hit me so hard, and I just liked it. I appreciate it for what it was as well. Next, I want to talk about Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is a new all-time favorite for me. I made a 20-minute video talking about this book that you should definitely go check out, but this is basically about a world where there's no hunger, there's no death, everything has been solved, and we have this society where to kill people, they have hired scythes, right? There's a scythedom. The job of a scythe is to kill people so they can control the population. And so we follow these two main characters, Citra and Rowan, who are taken under apprenticeship by a scythe. And we follow the story from there, as Citra and Rowan have to try to figure out how and if they want to take life, and it just gets really, really, really complicated from there. But that's the initial premise. I love this book so much, and I talked about it a lot in that review. You should definitely go check it out. But just the society, I thought it was so developed. The society around, like, no death, I thought it was really realistic, and I think Neil Shusterman definitely put a lot of work into it. Also with the Scythedom, with the Thunderhead, there was just so much about this book that was so developed and so made me think, and I just loved it so much. The characters were so good, and I just loved seeing their growth, their progression throughout this book, and the plot. Oh my god, the plot. When you have good characters, that's already enough for me to like a book. But when you pair a good plot with that as well, oh my god, the amount of twists and turns and things I didn't see coming kept me on the edge of my seats. This book was great. I was about to pick up the second book in the series from my Barnes & Noble, but I didn't because there's some other stuff I need to read. But I cannot wait to read the second book, and I definitely do want to read it this year. Oh my god, the questions this book brought up, and just the amount of amazing characters that it had, the morality, the gray areas. I thought this book was great, and I loved it. And finally, I'm going to talk about Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first Brandon Sanderson book that I've read. I've always wanted to read one, and I'm really happy that I started with Skyward because I enjoyed it so much. This is basically about the human race in the very, very distant future where they've settled on this new planet, and they are in a war with these aliens that are attacking from the sky, from space. And so they have these pilots that are trained to ward off these aliens, and that's the basic premise. And we follow Spencer, whose father was in the first initial fight between this human race and the aliens on the new planet. And in that fight, which is now remembered as one of the largest fights in the human race, he was a coward, or he did a cowardly thing, and he ran away. And he was killed because he ran away. And so Spencer, while she wants to be a pilot, knows that she probably won't be able to because of what her father did. And we follow her as she tries to become a pilot, as she tries to fight against people who will not forget what her father did. And it all becomes more interesting when she finds something really cool in a long-lost cave. And yeah, I love this book. Spencer was just such a great main character, and just the way she progressed through this book and the way she grew as a character was just great to see. I loved her relationship with the Rig. I just thought that was I loved her relationship with a lot of people. I loved her relationship with Cobb, with her mom, with her grandmother, and I just thought overall she was a great main character to follow. But what really made me love this book was just how realistic and how thrilling it was. Brandon Sanderson really crafted an amazing world centered around this fight with the aliens. And there were definitely a few terms and paragraphs that flew over my head because not that science fiction person, but you could definitely see that he put a lot of work into it, and it just creates a more realistic atmosphere. And especially with pilot school, there were just so many little things about it that just I loved. And at the end, oh my god, this book got so thrilling, and I was really scared that it was gonna have a bad ending, or just something that left a sour taste on my mouth, if that's how you want to say it. But I really thought that the ending was really good, and it made me excited to read the next book, which I think is called Starlight, right? Something like that. And yeah, I'm super excited. I loved this book. It's definitely not a new favorite. I definitely didn't love all of the characters, and I feel like it did get way too drawn out at times. It definitely could have been a little shorter, but I did really love this book. Was it here? I think it was, no, it was here. It's gonna annoy me now. I think it was here, right? Right? So you guys, those are some of my favorite reads of 2021 so far. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, comment down below, and tell me some of your favorite reads of 2021 so far. Have you read a lot of good books? Tell me about it. Subscribe, turn post notifications on, and I'll see you next time with another video. Bye.